The monuments left by the ancient Egyptians stand silent witness to the kings who once ruled here and the mighty gods that watched over them. For centuries, the mysteries of the ancient world were locked away, but from the middle of the sand-swept haze have come incredible stories of the cat. Nowhere was the cat more revered than in ancient Egypt. The cat was worshipped as a goddess. Kings built temples in her name, and anyone reckless enough to kill a cat risked death. A crowd is said to have viciously killed a Roman soldier after he accidentally killed one. Animal X traveled to the land of the pharaohs, Egypt, to uncover the mysterious world of the cat cult, a pagan religion born among the great monuments around Cairo. The kings who built the pyramids of Giza were the first to domesticate wild felines. They elevated the cat to the status of a goddess, adorning their temples and homes with her image. Bast, or Bastet as she was known, was the daughter of Ra, the sun god. Her son Khenshu was god of the moon. She was the goddess of many things, of love and joy, and of fertility for the land and for women, but she could also be a strong, fierce protector. The Sphinx, half man, half lion, stands guard at the entrance to the Great Pyramids. But experts like Zahi Hawass believe the cat had an even more important role here. Evidence of the cat cult was uncovered in the pharaohs' tombs. Symbols in the pyramid revealed half of Egypt came under her protection. Pharaohs buried here were also guarded by the cat goddess.
Sometimes the cat can be at the entrance of a gate. Anyone who will come by to hurt the body of the king in the pyramid or to steal something from the pyramid, the cat is ready to jump and put its nails on the face of that human being who's coming to disturb the peace of the pharaoh.
In the modern world, it's often said that cats have 9 lives. In ancient Egypt, Bastet was believed to be immortal. Pharaohs sought to continue their power into the afterlife with the help of the cat goddess.
The idea is the continuation of life. If the afterlife is the cat never die. And the pharaoh is immortal. And Bastet is immortal.
Even more startling secrets about the cat cult were uncovered deep in the Nile Delta. Archaeologists discovered a ruined city dedicated to the cat goddess. At Bir Bastet, the cat was the master of the gods.
Bir Bastet is the name of the house of the cat. Here we have the name of the cat. Here, and Bastet, the name of the cat.
3,000 years ago, cat worship reached its peak. 13 temples stood at Bir Bastet, each one built by a pharaoh to pay homage to the cat.
This is the central, the first central for the cat in Egypt.
Sacred cats were kept in the temples and worshipped as Bast's earthly representative. A huge cat cemetery was also found here, among the ruins, mummified cats. The animal, prized in every household, was embalmed to ensure its place in the afterlife. Egyptian families made tremendous financial sacrifices to ensure their pets received the best burial available. Egyptians would also make physical sacrifices when a cat died. Family members would shave off their eyebrows as a sign of mourning. All candles were extinguished. The grieving household remained in silence and in darkness for 3 months. At Bir Bastet, huge festivals were dedicated to the goddess. Up to 1 million people would converge on this city to drink, dance, and celebrate their love of the cat. The cat cult didn't disappear forever with the ancient Egyptians. It's still alive today in America.
My name is Paula Ashton. I run House of the Open Eye. It's a Kemetic temple located in San Jose, California.
Animal X obtained this exclusive home video of a pagan religion that still worships the cat. Followers of the ancient Egyptian gods are wary of outsiders. We were refused permission to film the sect ceremony, but their own images show that the cat remains a spiritual guide. hundreds of Americans are thought to worship the goddess Bast. Some claim to have seen her or heard her voice, but many are too nervous to openly reveal their link to the cat cult. But in the privacy of their own homes, the faithful light incense. They give offerings and pray to the cat goddess. It's a different story in Egypt today. Of course, religion still plays a vital role, but the call to prayers attracts the faithful to the mosque. Worshippers don't look to the animal world, they look to the Quran as their guide. The teachings of Islam have replaced the ancient Egyptian religions. The cat has lost its place as a mighty god. Bast is confined to the souvenir stores in Cairo. But the old worlds and the new blend into one in this exotic land, and some of the beliefs of the ancient rulers have found their way into the superstitions of the current residents. Cats are widely believed to be connected to the dead. Even the humble street cats have a supernatural aura.
Spirits of the people themselves who died, the departed ones, wander in the form of cats at night.
It's thought that all of Europe's cats are descendants of the pharaohs' pets. And even today, Egyptian children are told never to beat a cat. To do so is to disturb the dead. While the ancient Egyptians have long since disappeared from the valley of the Nile, amongst the remains of their civilization, the spirit of the cat goddess lives on.
While some pay homage to the cat, others look to the stars for answers to the mysteries of the universe. Could alien animals be among us? Could they account for the many sightings of strange beasts that defy the laws of nature? We talk to those who believe we're not alone.
He would have been about 4 foot high.
Greasy in looks. He had really green, swirly eyes.
Very, very skinny, you know, his ribs sort of stood out a bit.
He sort of made weird noises every now and then.
Wasn't human. Definitely wasn't from this world.
For decades, humanity has been reaching for the stars, but it's not just men and women we've put into orbit. Before we risked human life in space, we experimented with animals. We may do the same again before landing a human on a distant planet. But maybe some other intelligent life is testing their intergalactic travel systems by sending animals to our planet.
Clearly, E.T. will have a lot of biological company on his own planet. Somehow in the movies and the TV shows, you never see the other animals that share E.T.'s planet.
Animal X investigates mysterious alien animal sightings in Brisbane, Australia.
I was pretty hot in bed and I woke up sweating. I could feel something in the room. I was lying there and something put its hand around my neck. And I spun around and I saw it sitting on my bed head.
Was this an alien animal, or the delusions of impressionable teenagers? Those witnesses who wish to remain anonymous are convinced that an alien animal exists. Support for that belief comes from an unexpected source. For years, NASA and other agencies have been conducting scientific searches for extraterrestrial intelligence. All we need to do is consider the number of stars in the universe, according to Dr. Seth Shostak.
Well, that's a lot of stars. I mean, that's more stars than are grains of sand on all the beaches of the Earth. So to think that this is the only grain of sand that has something thinking on a planet around it is probably a little bit too egocentric.
But he doesn't go as far as saying they're already here.
It's actually quite hard to go from star to star. I mean, to go from here to the next planet like Mars, that's not so difficult. But the nearest star is, 10,000 times farther than Mars. So that's a really difficult trip, and it takes a lot of energy if you want to do that in a short period of time.
But spaceships may not be the only way of moving between planets. This and other theories are on the curriculum at Western Australia's College of Technical and Further Education, where ufology is one of the subjects.
So it might be that they have to wait another 20 or 30 years. So the quicker I can help educate people, the quicker everyone can help educate each other. An animal, let's say, that comes from another dimension could have come through another dimension to get to planet Earth, but still actually originate somewhere in our universe.
Have these alien animals escaped, or are they part of an intergalactic experiment?
I don't think the aliens are just letting their animals roam free without a reason. It seems to be an agenda here, testing them out in the wild.
The animals on Earth are part of this planet's evolution. Other planets have also evolved.
You can get some appreciation for how diverse animals might be on another planet by just considering our own planet. Run the clock of time backward 3.5 billion years ago when the only life on Earth was small little bacteria. Now let it run forward again, right? But change a few things here and there. A few more meteors hit the Earth, a few less. Maybe the temperature's warm 1 degree warmer, 1 degree cooler. You wouldn't end up with the same identical set of animals we have now. 65 million years ago, a big rock slammed into the Earth, wiped out the dinosaurs and 90% of all other species. If that asteroid had been 2 hours earlier getting here, 2 hours later, it would have missed the Earth. We wouldn't be sitting here. There'd be a bunch of dinosaurs running around. E.T.'s planet will also be the result of various circumstances, none of which are particularly important, but that result in a tremendous diversity in the appearance of its critters.
Brian Richards has been studying UFOs and their supposed occupants for more than 20 years.
They're often small, hairy objects. There's even the famous jellyfish object that was seen in the middle of a road in the States.
Brian and his colleagues say there might be more to alien animals than just the physical body, which so many people on Earth claim to have seen.
Whatever an alien might look like might be either so frightening or so peculiar that we couldn't even recognize it.
Perhaps there are many strange animals on Earth which are really visitors from outer space.
There are realms beyond the realms that we can see with our eyes.
Did these girls see an animal from another planet? Whatever they saw was very real to them and has changed their lives forever. In this universe of infinite space, the final frontier, perhaps ours are not the only animals out there.
Alien animals, science fiction or science facts. After the break, we investigate another bizarre story that has all the makings of a sci-fi movie. Killer bees. Animal X talks to the victims of the swarm.
He had been stung by African killer bees 3,305 times.
Welcome back to Animal X. Most of us know what it's like to be stung by a honeybee, painful but rarely life-threatening. In the southern United States, it's a different story. These once productive insects have turned to vicious killers known as kamikaze bees, and the race is on to find a repellent.
It has all the makings of a bad sci-fi movie, but this is no far-fetched horror film. This is for real. From Latin America to Texas, Arizona, and Southern California, people are taking cover from the swarm, killer bees that so far have been blamed for the deaths of more than 700 people and countless animals. And not only are they real, they're unstoppable. Animal X traveled to Tucson, Arizona, just one of the many cities caught in the grip of this bizarre phenomenon, the result of a biological disaster, a scientific experiment gone wrong. We went in search of residents whose lives have been shattered by these flying freaks of nature, officially known as Africanized honeybees.
Just absolutely tears me up to even think about it. It was such a horrible way to go.
Like most people here, Gary Donovan had heard about killer bees, but never thought he would encounter them. That was until his cherished pet dog, Skippy, was savagely attacked. Gary had tied him up outside while he went to work. He says he never saw the killer beehive in an overhanging tree.
He had been stung by African killer bees 3,305 times. And by virtue of the fact that he had been tied up, there was nowhere for him to have gone, no place to hide. And poor dog just must have suffered incredibly. It's just unbelievable.
Gary believes Skippy must have upset the aggressive bees by making noise. They can sense vibrations up to 50 meters away.
I imagine that he was jumping around and barking, and it must have disturbed the hive. The bees must have been really aggravated by the noise he was making. And that provoked the attack.
Postmortems on both animal and human victims show that when killer bees attack, they go straight for the head, targeting the ears, nose, eyes, and mouth. Experts call it genetic learning. They say through trial and error, the bees have discovered that by stinging these vulnerable areas, they can kill more quickly, sometimes in less than 10 minutes. Their sting is no more painful or lethal than a normal European honeybee, but they do attack more quickly and in bigger swarms. In fact, when provoked, thousands of killer bees will come out within seconds to defend their hive.
Over 50% will come out, which is a remarkable number because about 50% are young bees that really can't defend anyway because their stings aren't hardened and they don't have much venom. So basically every bee that can sting and hurt comes out in an Africanized colony. Whereas in a European colony you may get 1, 2, 10.
These natural-born killers have a special way of calling in others to attack. They release what's known as alarm pheromones that act as a signal to swarm. It's emitted when one bee is killed. Dr. Schmidt says it's all part of what makes the killer bee a kamikaze bee.
This bee wants to kill itself. If an animal has given up, or a person, much like some of the terrorists who drive trucks in, they don't care about their own life. So it's very hard to stop them. You can't threaten them. You can't intimidate them. You can't scare them. They have decided their life is of no value and they are going to do the maximal damage. Well, that's essentially what an attacking honeybee is doing.
Hell-bent on causing maximum damage, this is the work of the killer bees on humans. The parents of this 2-year-old girl watched on helplessly as she was stung more than 200 times in an attack in Brazil. Others haven't been so lucky. In this attack in Rio de Janeiro, a homeless woman was killed after disturbing a huge hive in a train station. So how did these once gentle, productive honeybees turn into fierce and vicious creatures? It all began back in 1957 when a geneticist in Brazil was conducting bee breeding research. He wanted to crossbreed the aggressive African queen bee, known for its high rate of honey production, with its more docile European counterpart. But disaster struck. 26 African queens accidentally escaped and set up new colonies. Today, killer bees are in 4 states bordering Mexico and still on the move.
They're still expanding their range, and we're just monitoring them. I say we, the scientific community and the regulatory community, are monitoring them to see how far they go.
The research takes Dr. Erickson and his team out into the fierce heat of the Arizona desert. There, they've set up an isolated area where they can conduct tests on killer bees, well away from the public. Danger signs warn off trespassers. Special precautions are taken too with their bee suits. All openings are sealed up tight so the killer bees can find no way in. Ducting tape is also used for added protection. Once kitted out, researchers can safely make their way into the compound. So far, they've had no luck in finding a repellent, as the killer bees are extremely resilient and more work needs to be done. A light tap on their hive is enough to bring the insects out in their thousands.
Now you can see them and you can hear them.
Within seconds, the bees are on the attack. As well as noise, they dislike dark colors and head for anything black. Dr. Erickson uses a device which records the number of bee stings on a black ball attached to his bee helmet. It ticks over rapidly, and after only a few minutes, it records close to 10,000 stings. He says his team has had some degree of success.
The testing that we've done so far shows that we can reduce the numbers of bees attempting to sting us by virtue of monitoring them via the temperature tester. The distance that we have to go in terms of how far the bees will follow us, we're reducing those by 95%. I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we reduce it 100% because there's simply too many bees out there.
Until a bee repellent is found, a simple solution of soapy water is seen as the most cost-effective way of killing the ever-growing number of bees. Sprayed onto a hive, it drowns them en masse, and they drop to the ground. Fueled by fact and partly by Hollywood fiction, the killer bee phenomenon certainly has brought terror to many, and as the swarms continue to defy the experts, it appears these unwanted visitors are not going away. They're here to stay.